And yeah, I think basically characters that are not stereotypes, characters that are three-dimensional, those are important factors.
Felicitarla porque tu trabajo es interesante porque el idioma siempre va de la mano para nuevas oportunidades y quisiera comenzar preguntándote sobre, yo sé que en los dialectos, sobre todo el changueñés, es bastante interesante para el modo de ver las películas y me gustaría preguntarte sobre, bueno, ¿tienes un proyecto en mente sobre realizar un tema en específico? ¿Qué tema te gustaría abordar y cuáles serían como las herramientas más interesantes para que la nueva era de este cine sea innovador, que muchas personas conozcan de la cultura y todo?
What are the key elements in your work and talking about future projects to showcase not only the cinematic elements but the cultural elements, and yeah, bringing life to this, we can say, like a new wave of movies, talking about, yeah, the cultural aspects. And by the way, I really love Asian cinema, so for me talking to you is it's amazing. So tell us, please.
I think for me, because I'm mainly an actress, I also write and produce. For me, if I'm acting and stuff, I have to audition first before I get the part. And I find that in the process of looking at the materials, looking at the sides, and preparing for the audition, I usually get a sense of how much I like this material, if it makes sense. Because if I like the material, I'll have a stronger grasp towards that material, and I almost automatically would do a better job. And if I can't find a way to connect, if I just think like the writing is not there yet, or if I just don't feel like this is something that resonates in me, then it doesn't really, it won't really, it almost never works. So as an actor, I guess the work that I'm going to put forward into in the future would be stuff that speak to me and have a little bit of some aspects of me in different circumstances, and that speaks my truth. And as for writing and producing, currently I am adapting a short film that I wrote, that just recently premiered at. It was very exciting. It premiered at Director Guilds of America as part of the 2022 Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival, which is one of the largest Asian American film festival in the United States, and it has an Oscar qualification. So that was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool. And then as for, I hope that in the work that I have a more like say in the producing word of it or producing side of it, I hope that well, first I hope it's a good story. I hope it's entertaining. And I think for me, especially as a Chinese living in the United States, or as just Chinese who has lived in other countries, I hope to bring a unique perspective to examine our identities as like Asians, and at the same time to like see how our new life or our current life in a different country blends together with our roots back in China, if it makes any sense.
Yo te quiero preguntar sobre también el rol de Siggy, que es en The Closin Night, que es bastante interesante porque veamos que Siggy es una chica que intenta nuevas oportunidades, no solo en un teatro de Estados Unidos, sino también en poder plasmar como una nueva cultura. Entonces yo te quiero preguntar sobre qué es lo más importante de que al realizar un rol obviamente, que va para lo grande, pues precalifica y todo, cómo es poder aprender de varios acentos, culturas y que la gente pueda aprender un poco de su personaje.
Okay, and I'm glad because Jhon is not only asking about because you're also a writer, but you are also CG in that short film. I hope I pronounce it right. Yes, what can people learn about not only this role but this project? Because I was reading, and in fact, it got touched to my heart because this movie talks about the diaspora, and and it's not only the States. We are Jhon and myself. We are from Cucuta. Cucuta is the city that is the border between Colombia and Venezuela. And you know the big um, in 2015 there was a large amount of people from Venezuela that start walking, and this is the first city that they encounter. So the diaspora here is that phenomenon is really vivid. So tell us.
So so it was because I wrote the project knowing that I want to be in it. I first wanted to it was like in the middle of the pandemic. A lot of normally I get chances to work with a lot of like Chinese filmmakers who are making their projects, and I get to be in them. And because in 2020 a lot of them flew back to China when the pandemic broke out here. So I really felt like A, the pandemic shut everything down, and B, people who I normally collaborated with went back home. So I wasn't getting as many auditions or opportunities as I got before. So it came from a very practical at first, like way of saying like I really wanted to be in something. So I'm going to create that opportunity for myself. And at the same time, I just graduated from college back then in 2020. So I was being pitched to agents and managers by a very, very lovely mentor. She's wonderful. She's the best. But I was getting some feedback that they couldn't pitch me as American for American roles because I have an accent. To me, I never even really thought about being pitched as American before, but just having that experience and also having experience in college before with like feeling really not belonging there or just feeling like my accent is in my place, just having all of those experiences combined and wanting to create something for myself, that really brought this project to the beginning part. Like I started writing it, and then I always knew I'm going to be in it myself. So it was really fun playing a more exaggerated version of me. It wasn't fully me, but there was definitely like 80% of me in there. Maybe not 80, like 75, but there was a huge amount of me in that role.
Solo te traduciré esto. Ella, obviamente, es basado en experiencias reales que ella ha tenido como actriz. Hay un 80% de Ella en CG, solo te diré eso. Después te traduzco el resto.
De hecho, es importante porque, bueno, ya que estamos hablando de las nuevas identidades, obviamente la trama es interesante porque quiere un poco como ser fluida en el acento, pero está también acompañada de grandes talentos, no solo con Julie, Crystal Juan, que es muy amiga de varios colegas que hemos entrevistado, Cooper Reynolds. Entonces todas esas distintas culturalidades, tipos de acentos, ¿qué fue el reto más difícil de poder afrontar no solo en esta cinta, sino también de poder en la nueva generación, ya sea nueva generación y poder complementarse con personas ya experimentadas?
Yes, how was this experience with the cast and the cast members? In fact, I'm surprised because Jhon told me that one of the actresses, Julie, she is a friend of a lot of people that we had interviewed with here. So for me, that's a kudos. So yeah.
Which actress? Jocelyn?
Julie.
No, Crystal Juan.
And Crystal Juan also.
Oh, Crystal, yeah.
Yes. In fact, I will ask Jhon at the end of the interview which is friend also, because it's great to know this channel has become like a little family. So tell me how was the experience with all these casting of people that got many years, newcomers. Tell me all about this.
Yes, so it was really fun. I think I did a lot of the casting. It was also with me. It was with me, and then our director Jhon, and then also my producing partner Brielle. The three of us were the core team, I would say, of this film. And then I did a lot of I worked on a lot of the casting process. So at first we knew there's me, because it was so based on my actual like college experience. And then there are some parts of the film that is like basically recreating what we had in school with like all the exercise and stuff. I reached out to a lot of my friends. So most people who play my classmates in my film are my actual UCLA classmates or people who are just in the department. And then Jocelyn, who plays the another like very protagonist role. The character's name is Jane. I knew her because I worked on another short film with her a couple years ago, and then we played sisters in that one. And I just loved how effortlessly cool she is in real life. So I just really wanted her to bring that aspect of her to the role. And then, funny thing, Professor Henderson, who's played by Rod Menzies, is also my actual voice and speech professor in college. He's a veteran. He was always really nice. His character is like a little mean and like problematic in the role, but he's great. I actually only met him on Zoom in like 2020 because it was the last quarter of like my last quarter in college. It was on Zoom. So I met him through Zoom, and then I reached out to him about this project, and he was willing to help. So that was wonderful. And then he, like, he gets the exercises. He wasn't the one leading us with these specific exercises, but he knew these exercises, and he was able to like improv a little. And there was this scene with like him blocking the actors. Our director kind of just let him actually block it. So it was really, really fun. It was like recreating my college life. But in a very fun, friendly, and healthy way. And then also Rod is amazing. He's Sandro's teacher in school. He's coached like a bunch of like top Hollywood actors like Sophie Turner, a bunch of people. I'm just not, you can look him up, but he's really, really cool.
I want to ask you, this is your first interview in outside the US, because we feel that you will continue, I don't like the word famous, but you will be more known because you are projecting a really great career. Because yes, thank God I choose the right words. And about Rod Menzies, I was reading his IMDb, and it's crazy. I mean, he was acting even in MacGyver. Wow. And yes, Crystal is friends from, and I will say hi to Downally Hazing. And
Crystal we found because I think my producing partner Brielle knew her from some other stuff, so we reached out, and then she like read for the part, and she was a great fit. So we were really great to have her. We were really honored to have her.
I will tell Jhon that I tell you this, that Jhon, se lo tuve que decir. ¿Cómo se tenía que decir ese hijo? Lo que tú decías, porque me hago esta mención. Tú sabes que Rod Menzies, o sea, es que el que hace el profesor, el tipo, empezando que él es él es uno de los docentes que le ayuda mucho en la cuestión de la voz, pero el tipo ha actuado desde la época de MacGyver y ha sido profesor de un montón de, o sea, incluso de Sophie Turner. Y ella dice que pues una locura porque, bueno, y que en parte se conocieron en Zoom y todo, que él esté ahí porque pues él ha estado como que él ha sido profesor de gente que es muy famosa, y yo le dije que no sé si hablar de fama, pero que tú y yo estamos hablando que después de esta entrevista, o sea, que vemos una carrera en ella que va a ser increíble, o sea, como la está perfilando. Ella dice que gracias, y claro que sí, que Crystal llegó gracias a, obviamente, amigos. De hecho, ella hizo el casting, o sea, hizo el casting de todas las personas, así que kudos for the casting.
Thank you.
A great role. Jhon, dale.
Yo tengo dos preguntas en una que son, bueno, llamada 911, y ahí tú me complementas, Andrés, que, bueno, llamada 911 es ya, por ejemplo, con una amiga de ella, Lee, y pues la otra es algo más distinto. Es que hace dos roles diferentes, y es lo que me impresiona mucho. Primero, llamada 911 hace sobre que se discute con una amiga para intentar llamar a la policía por una interferencia de los vecinos. Y la otra es, obviamente, ella hace un rol de mamá, de, bueno, un chico de 8 años que intenta, por ejemplo, comprarse un juguete y pues lleva sus consecuencias al no saber un poco sobre bueno, familiar, que no saben. Entonces yo te quiero preguntar sobre cómo es interpretar roles y más bien poder caracterizarlos sobre uno en una tensión y el otro es un drama familiar más que asume un rol de madre. Ahí.
Okay, this is a crazy question, but somebody had to do it. Okay, it's about the roles, your roles in Call 911, sorry. But also, I will only say the part in English. You can pardon my Chinese. Summer ends. Yes, because we see that they seem like two different roles. In fact, in one you play as a mother. So yeah, how do you see the difference between these two roles, but also telling acting in short films that are itself, life itself, situations, family, friends. Tell us about these roles and help us with the translation of Summer Ends. I understand the rest of the words.
So Call 911 I was in that project because the lead actress, Lydia, I knew her a while back, and then I think she was saying like she was in this project, and then she just recommended me to her director, which was awesome. And that was a very real it wasn't real per se. It was like also adapted from a real event, I believe. But it was like a reimagination of an event. I think that one was a really heavy topic with talking about like domestic abuse, and because the lead character was like, we were listening to next door, and then there were people like fighting, and it sounded to get dangerous, and then the protagonist was thinking that they might, like, the person, whoever was like the woman who might have been in dangerous situation might not be in dangerous situation, or she herself wouldn't want to get out. And then it's basically the process of realizing that is not true, and whatever, and even if it's true, we should still call the police to let them figure out what the situation is, and to protect the possibility of that woman being in danger. So that project was like, I was a supporting character, but I had a major part in it, but I was mainly a supporting character trying to help the protagonist get to that point. And then in Somerset, that one was because the director is my friend, Long, and then he just was like, can you help me read this part in my film? It's a voiceover part. I was like, sure. And I think the mom part of it wasn't as important. It was more of this just like elegant, like rich, elegant kind of vibe this character has. I'm like, okay, call him back an hour later. It's just like another kid is calling my kid. And it's just like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for you. So that wasn't really heavily leaned on the mom. It was more actually leaned on just the attitude itself.
Wow, call 911 sounds very, very strong topic. Wow. I haven't seen it. I only translator, but I think that it's a very, very heavy topic, and a very brave surfing and roll. Both of you. Jhon, bueno, en Summer Sense es más un voiceover, pero Call 991 sí debo traducirte porque el proyecto es fuerte, Jhon. Es sobre, o sea, es más una historia real. Sobre una mujer que no sabe, o sea, de hecho, pues, él hace el papel que se puede decir casi como el ángel. No sabe si debe llamar o no a la policía cuando están en una situación probablemente de violencia doméstica allá en China. Es un corto fuerte. Fue para ayudar a la amiga, que es la protagonista, pero pues hay que decirlo acá, o sea, yo se lo dije, me parece un tema muy fuerte y también muy valiente por parte de ellas. El otro Somerset fue más por hacerle un favor al director. Obviamente todo recae más en el niño, pero ella hizo sí de la mamá elegante del niño.
Es increíble. Y también, bueno, para poder culminar, antes de que nos adelante las producciones, yo quisiera saber sobre Kingdom Blaze, porque es una historia de la heroimanía, si no estoy mal, que es un tema muy fuerte. Entonces yo quiero preguntarte sobre qué has podido diferenciar, qué aspectos que tú como actriz has visto que diferencian ciertos de esos roles, de esas tramas, tanto en el continente asiático, tanto en el continente americano, que has podido como diferenciar de ese aspecto del tema que se aborda?
Okay, we are going to talk about Kingdom of Blitz, but the question is about how do you see, and it's a great question for me because I really want to know, how do you see the difference between the, no, how the directors of the movies in US deals with the subject of, let's say, drug dependence, addiction, and how do you see, no sé, how they deal in Asia with this same subject? And of course, tell us about your participation in this short film.
So Kingdom of Bliss, I actually didn't have that much of a heavy involvement in. I had, I think it's so long ago. It's like 5 years ago, maybe now, that I had a pretty small part and I was just kind of a friend in the background. I think I wasn't super involved with the main like addiction part of it. But I think from what I've seen most of the time is how I differentiate director is if they have a critical thinking ability of what they put on the page. If they are able, and then so beside that, if they have the ability to tell a story, because and I think that isn't, that can't be just separated by nationalities. Some people just have been trained to think more critically, and some people would just like add in some elements every here and there to make this film like quote unquote symbolic or dramatic or interesting. It's really when it comes to like throwing some elements just to make it symbolic that really gets me, because they haven't thought through what the symbols actually are. They're just like, oh, it's like artistic, but that's not how it is for me. I feel like once you get into basically any sensitive topics, which you want to get into in films, because that's like our medium of expression and discussion. But if you are doing that, you need to be considerate of what you put onto the screen or onto the page, because it has an impact. And as much as I had a really hard time like spending that many hours studying like theater studies and film studies, they're important to think about your materials critically and almost like a literature to judge, like to think about this quote unquote symbols or like whatever elements you put on there, to be careful about them.
Estas dos producciones que se vienen, que nos adelante un poco sobre el futuro de esto y también sobre qué podemos esperar más adelante, de pronto en una participación tuya, qué roles te gustaría afrontar en un género de específico más adelante. Sí.
Okay, as a final, we know that they're in hold in post production or something, but you can tell us something that what we can expect, or something you can say about Have a Good Night and Focus, and also tell what yes, what will be, I don't know if it's your dream role, but the kind of roles that you want to keep playing or portraying in the next steps of your career. Go ahead.
Okay, so actually, I think both of them are done. They just haven't updated on IMDb. One was, I think, Focus was done a while ago. That one is a pretty personal story to the director, and I was really glad to be a part of it. I think it had a very small screening at UCLA if it did, but I'm not sure about that because the director is from UCLA Film School. And then Have a Good Night, I'm very excited about because it just finished post-production and it's starting to do the festival run, which is exciting. Hopefully it will get into a good festival very soon. It's a multimedia short. I am an actor and producer on the short. So most of the short was shot in front of a green screen. and then there was just animation all around me in the film. And then towards the very end of the film, we have a little bit of live action. But that film is, I've never been anything like that before, and I've personally never seen anything like that before. It's a really short film. It's like only 3 minutes and a half because it was a lot of work to make all the green screen thing like very magical. But I'm very excited for that to go into festival run and hopefully get picked up by a good festival and show it to a great audience. And as for roles that I would like to play in the future, I think there are a range of roles that I would love to play. I think I love drama was like really what first got me into acting, and I always loved being a very like energetic ball, sometimes in comedies like The Best Friend, Joyful Best Friend. I love playing smart people. I love playing dumb people. I love playing on people who are really on the opposite end of that of that. So that's really fun. And yeah, I think basically characters that are not stereotypes, characters that are three-dimensional, those are important factors.
I am a little sad because I on the collab. In fact, one of my side jobs, I always curator of festivals in here in my country. In fact, in two countries, in Colombia and Venezuela. And I'm sad because there is one. I collaborate with a festival that is full on animation, but not only. In fact, they allow live action animation. And oh my God, have a good night. When how do you tell me that? How it brings the multimedia? I will. I don't know. If you allow me, of course, I will talk with the organizers. It will be great to have it, or at least to promote it or something in the nets, because in fact the festival is called El Ojo Iluso, like the illusional eye in Spanish, and it's full on animation. And what you tell me about Have a Good Night, I'm so hyped because I really love.
That's so exciting. We should talk after this, and we could shoot each other emails about the festival and have a good night.
Yeah, I will tell Jhon that we keep in contact, and
Yes.
and of course I will talk with the organizers. I don't promise you anything, but
Yeah,
I
of
hope
course. Yes.
but this short film and all your works, the Closin Night, everything needs to keep it showing in the whole world. The time is running off. Jhon, le pediré el favor, ¿cierto? Time is running out, so please, for us, it's a big thank you. The camera is yours. Send a hi to Colombia, to wherever you want. Tell your social media so people can follow you. Tell people to stay attend on some projects. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, thank you for that. So I just want to say thank you both, Jhon and Andres, for like having me today. It's such a huge honor. And so you can follow me on my social media. So there's Ella Rouwen Chen, which is ELLAROUWENCHEN on Instagram. And then you can also you could probably see me tagging a bunch of other stuff that are up there as well. And I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. 非常感谢你们两个今天邀请我，然后今天这一场采访我觉得特别有意思，希望以后有机会可以继续我们可以继续聊天。谢谢大家。I said thank you, basically. Thank you for having me, and it was really fun. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I will say it now in Spanish. Gracias a ti. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you. 谢谢。
Gracias.
De hecho, gracias a Wendy también por la oportunidad y bueno, gracias.
Also, thanks to Wendy for the opportunity.
Yes.
And now, Ella, thank you so much. And now I hope we can keep in contact with the thing I told you. And this is your house now. You are welcome always in this channel.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 God bless you.